Yes, we are live. Check, check. How do you guys see me? Looks like everything's working good on my end. Good to see everybody here. Man, just a crazy few days. We've already got 300 people in here. This is awesome. I think this is good because we can come together as a community and kind of talk about what's been going on. I'll get you guys up here in a second. You guys can go ahead and start throwing out your thoughts just on things that you want me to answer, things you want me to talk about. There's been a lot of contradicting information that's been coming out that we've seen. So the big thing here is just to kind of pull a lot of it together, talk about it in a cohesive way, in a way that we can kind of structure our own beliefs and our own opinions while taking in information from different sources. So that's a big reason why I want to do these lives, is to give us the opportunity to just, question in a way that's healthy. And there's a story that I'll tell you from one of the leadership schools I went to, and it was question, up until the point where it starts to derail your life. Or to the point where you have to take action in order to get something done. Like if you're on the battlefield flying an F-15E, you can't question the entire time. At some point, you got to take action. So it's important and it's incumbent on all of us to get as much information as we can, but then not to just spin our wheels over the same thing over and over. We can move on, take in new information. That's just a lesson from a leadership school when I was like a captain or something like that I thought was good, to just make sure that you're not stuck on this hamster wheel of questioning. That's why, as you'll see in the videos I've been putting out over the past few days, they're a progression. So you can actually go back, you can watch each one of them. There's a video all the way back to starting from the Chinese balloon being shot down, the spy balloon that was shot down off the coast of South Carolina. You can start there, and then you can go to the next ones, which are going to question different assumptions, and they're going to step all the way through. They're going to go into the shoot down by Dead Horse, which is by Prudhoe Bay in Alaska. That'll be the next one. Then the Yukon Territory shoot down, and then the Lake Huron shoot down. So they're going to be a progressive step. And in each of those, we're going to question different assumptions as we get new information. So hopefully that gives you guys just an insight into what's going on up here. It's a labyrinth, but I hope that there's some order, some structure to really help us all kind of wrap our minds around these things and create a cohesive community of people where we can ultimately come to the best conclusions possible and not get stuck on things that might just distract us. So I'm going to dive into the comments real quick. Just super grateful for you all the support over the past few days. And hopefully I'm giving, the whole point is for you. The whole point is for you all to get more information so you can sleep better at night, so you can enjoy your life. So jumping in here, the F-16 at the lake missed its first shot, it seems. Okay, I haven't heard that. That's interesting. Tempest is here from Brazil. Welcome, Brazil. If I don't see your question, just put it in one more time, but just do like 2 or 3 times. That might be what it takes for me to see your question. If these UFOs are aliens' life, then I would think after many light years of traveling, a missile would not hurt their craft. That's from Keegan. Yeah, I think that's interesting, because the White House is coming out and saying, we don't know what these are, but they're definitely not alien. It's like, okay, so you're basically just straight up telling us that you have more information that you're not telling us. It's like, come on, man. Or come on, lady. Like, seriously, you're just sitting there lying to our face saying that you don't have information that you do have. So yeah, I get why people are getting a little bit concerned about that. Totally makes sense. And the thing here that I like to think about is politicians are one thing. Let them do the politicianing, as I like to say. I don't even think they know what that means. It's like the influencing for influencers. Influencers, man. Tell you what. Some people have called me an influencer, and that's like the biggest insult I think I can get. But politicians do the politicianing, right? They're sitting there trying to stay in office. They're trying to create a narrative. They've crafted this narrative over and over and over again. But then when you look at what General van Hurk said, I think it's super cool, because he's basically like, look, these are not balloons. So he basically, and this is a big deal, because right in the face of Senator Schumer, who said these are just balloons, he's just oversimplifying it, trying to get answers out, trying to get something, because the president's remaining silent. He's trying to get something out there, but he's saying things that are outside of his wheelhouse, doesn't have an understanding of aeronautics. So again, politicians, they're trying to stay in office. I'm middle of the road. I'm telling you guys, I'm middle of the road. Maybe one day I'll do like a live on my political views, but they're very middle of the road. So you got the politicians that are focusing on staying in office, politicianing, right? Being very vague, But then it's pretty cool that, we have a leader like General van Hurk, and I'll be honest, I've personally interacted with him. I've had lunch with him. I know the guy. Very by the book guy, which is good, I suppose, on some level. I don't think we would have gotten along. It would have been like Maverick and Iceman if him and I were, in a squadron together. And I think that's how it kind of was. I actually have a funny story about General van Hurk and a general's daughter and myself. So if enough people ask me to tell that story, I'll tell it at the end of this live. But you got to keep reminding me. But that was a funny one. But I like the fact that he came out and he said, look, these are not balloons. These are something different. These are completely different. These are completely different than a balloon because, and I'm going to do a video on this tomorrow. When you look at the contacts that we saw over Montana, Havre, Montana, airspace closed down. We launched General van Hurk himself launched 2 F-15Cs out of Klamath Falls and a KC-135 that joined up with them. I think the KC-135 might have been out of Hill Air Force Base. I'm not exactly sure. Or there's actually a base up in Washington outside of Spokane called Fairchild that it could have come out of as well. So he launches those to go up investigate in the Havre, Montana area as that track is coming across from Canada. Then the next day, about 12 hours later or so, I'll do an exact timeline when I do the video tomorrow, but there's going to be an appearance of an object over Lake Huron. They're thinking that it's potentially the same object. I personally, if you ask my opinion, I think it is the same object because I think these things are moving faster than what we're being told. Just my assumption, the way that they're shaped, the fact that there is propulsion on them that has been noted. General van Hurk himself said these things have propulsion. If you watch the video I released today of the tentacle UFO, I had a good time making that. But there's strings attached to this thing. So those are either information collecting devices, transmitting devices, probably a combination of both, to be honest. But what I see is a consistency in the track of that thing traveling from Havre, Montana, continuing to go east over Lake Huron, and then it's finally shot down by an F-16 out of Wisconsin. So definitely interesting, but I think it's great to have someone like General van Hurk who will stand up and say, look, these have propulsion. John Wells just sent over $10. Dude, totally unexpected, totally appreciated. That's super cool. Thanks. He said, shot something down with positive ID is tough to swallow. Yeah. So I think what you're saying is it's tough to swallow that something with positive ID or something without positive ID was shot down. I think that's what you're getting at, but you can let me know again if I'm getting your question wrong. So the deal is, if someone's not talking to somebody, and what Van Hurk said as well is it wasn't squawking, which is a transponder code that aircraft will transmit. So even now when I'm flying commercial planes, I'm flying private jets or whatever, I'm flying around, I'm going to be squawking something. I'm going to be transmitting something out to other agencies saying, hey, look, I'm a good guy. I'm supposed to be here. And really it's for deconfliction with air traffic control. But in wartime scenarios, like in Afghanistan, when I'm flying around, I was squawking things that were making sure I wasn't going to get shot down by like a Patriot missile battery or something like that. And then there's certain geographical lines where you'll squawk certain things. That gets into some military strategy. So we'll save that for another video. Yeah, so I think it comes down to understanding that these things were actually in airspace that presented a factor to civilian traffic. Now you look at the major cities up there around the Great Lakes, and you're talking about, massive airliners coming in and out. I have friends flying A350s, one of the biggest commercial airliner. The A380 is bigger than that, but A350s are a lot of my friends are flying those right now. They keep convincing me. They're like, hey, come fly the A350 with us out of Detroit. Might do that eventually. We'll see. But there's a lot of traffic going into Chicago, Detroit, not to mention everything that's just kind of going over that direction to try to cross over the pole. So you've got a lot of different things happening there, which is tough. Okay. Rory, dude, these are the same things that Navy pilots began talking about recently. It's no surprise. They've always been here, but now we're paying attention to them. Yeah. Potentially. The only difference, Rory, that I'll throw at you is the fact that those were going from 0 to 65,000 feet in a matter of a half a second off the coast of California. Colonel Fravor, not Colonel. Colonel is the Air Force term. Help me out. Probably Lieutenant Commander, something like that. That's Lieutenant Colonel in the Navy. He was the one that talked about those a lot. Alexander. Thank you for thank you for the super thanks and, sending that. That's just totally unexpected, but really, really appreciated it. Helps me focus on these videos for sure. Are the BMEWSs picking these up? You got me there, man. The B Muse. I do know that there's different radar strategy that's being used now by NORAD. So NORAD's basically interpreting raw data differently, where they're actually incorporating photographic technology, which is super cool. I think that's smart. I mean, that's what Tesla ended up doing, right? They were using radars before on Teslas. Now they're using cameras only on the new Teslas. If you buy a new Tesla now, there's no radar, as far as I know. It's just going to be camera oriented. So let me know if you, Alexander, if you had another question besides that. I'll try to grab it. But Mike Bowers, thanks for the super thanks. Super nice. Just you guys are awesome. I mean, whether you do the super thanks or not, I appreciate it. But it is a next level and helps me full time. Hopefully, I'm getting there. I'm getting close to being full time YouTube, just to bring you guys content, and that's what I want to do. That's my goal. So giving those super thanks definitely helps with that. I appreciate it. Cool. Who else? Any questions coming up? How do we know we're not shooting down our own experimental aircraft out of Groom Lake? That's John McJunkin. Good question. This is my distraction, my water distraction while I think about what you just said. All right. So there's things obviously I can't share with you. There's things that I have to, pause and think about and not go into any classified information. But when it comes to the testing sites and things like that, I'll just say that the people that work up there are some of the smartest people I've ever met. And I just don't think that there'd be any situation where they would have something like that in a position where it would put airliners at danger, because, testing is one thing, but you obviously don't want to endanger any type of civilians and civilian aircraft. So I got to leave that one there. Hopefully you understand on that. I want to talk briefly to you guys. Oh, by the way, we passed 1,000 people in here, which is freaking rad. So got 1,100 people in this live, which is epic. I'll keep it going for a while, as long as I can. But we won't go crazy long, but 20, 30 minutes probably is what I'll do. Okay, Mike Bowers, quick question. As a former Marine on the ground in Fallujah, I love you guys in the sky. Much love, brother. And thanks so much. That's super huge. I mean, it hits me in the feels, man. It hits me in the feels, because the whole reason why I wanted to fly an air-to-ground platform, F-15E or F-16 or A-10 or F-35, was to go over there and support people like you and help you come home. And the fact that I was able to do that, fly 70 combat missions over there and help people like you come home, it just makes everything worth it. At the end of the day, I sleep well at night because I know there's people like you back here. And your character to go over there and serve is incredible. And I'm grateful for you. So thanks, man. Really, really proud to have you here as a subscriber. Proud to have everyone here, but it's even cooler, when you've got someone who's served, especially in somewhere like Fallujah. That's great. Guatemala says 1,100 people that are here so desperately want to be aliens. I don't know. I think 1,100 people that are here so desperately are deep thinkers, creative thinkers, and they want information. And hopefully I can provide them with that. Yeah, you guys are awesome. What do we got? Any other questions here? Let's see. We got some Civil Air Patrol in the house. Welcome. That's awesome. Would the fighters not attempt to visually identify before engaging? Yeah, they will. And if you watch one of my videos, I recently did, it was the one on the cylindrical object. If you go check that one out, I actually jump on DCS and I do a bit of a recreation. I'll admit it's kind of a rudimentary recreation. I can do better and I will do better. But what I wanted to show was the way that you would kind of saddle up behind it if you could, if the thing was flying at an airspeed that allowed you to kind of chill back there. Basically, we call it saddle up in a dogfight. When you saddle up behind something and you just identify it, you see what airspeed it's going at. But you can also identify in other ways. Like if you do a quick pass like this, your whole time, you're going to be trying to identify it for sure. So while you're doing that, you're checking out, seeing if there's a cockpit, you're seeing if there's any identifying markings or things like that. So rest assured, knowing these pilots, unless it was something super dire and it was like nighttime, they're going to identify it. But yeah, there might be a scenario nighttime. You got one of these dirigible balloon objects tentacle UFOs approaching an airport at night, can't visually identify it, you might get clearance to shoot it down anyways, just to keep everybody safe in airliners. Alexander, ballistic missile early warning station. Okay, so you're asking if those would have detected these objects. So I've got some insider information on this that I've been cleared to share with you all. I don't think you're gonna find this in any other channel, to be honest. So I might just keep it on the live. I might put it on something else. But NORAD actually is specifically designed to protect the United States from intercontinental ballistic missiles or aircraft. Okay, so they're looking up into space. They're keeping us safe from intercontinental ballistic missiles and any aircraft that might, try to penetrate our ADIZ, which is basically the protected airspace off of our coasts. Okay. So something like this is not a normal situation. These radars are not meant to pick up balloons, dirigible object, hexagonal, Chipotle burrito drones. It's not meant for that. But as you've potentially seen, and when I've been doing my research, I've seen that they've actually changed the raw data, the radar raw data, to be able to interpret different blips on the radar as these balloons or these smaller drones. So it's really great that they've been able to do that. I'm sure that's come out of a ton of work, people working overtime, not sleeping, just doing everything they could to make sure that they were getting, the data that was not interpreted the same way as it was just a few days ago. So ton of extra work that went into that. So hopefully that helps answer your question. And then that's some insider info. Hope you guys enjoyed. Terrence, my grandfather was a cook in the U.S. Army in World War II. My father was a combat veteran for the U.S. Army in the Korean War. I really appreciate and respect all the military in the U.S. Thank you so much. Hey, that's awesome. That's super cool, man. You've got a great family legacy. What a cool legacy. And it's just great to have people that support the military here. I love that. That's awesome. Cool. Eurofighter thoughts versus other 4th gen. Well, I actually did a video on Eurofighter as a potential aircraft that might go to Ukraine on my personal channel. So I have a personal YouTube channel called Ryan Bodenheimer. You guys can pop over there and follow me there. But I'll do Ukraine war updates there. And I actually just did a video on the Eurofighter and how the Eurofighter might be one of the options for what we train Ukrainian pilots on. But I think the Eurofighter is a solid jet. Insider story, I actually went, or I put my name in the hat to be an exchange pilot flying the Eurofighter in Spain, which was like my dream. Literally, I was staying up all night because I was close to getting accepted to it. I ended up going to Mountain Home to fly the F-15E instead. Someone beat me out for it, but then I got the Thunderbirds. So I do still think of Spain sometimes, flying the Eurofighter, because it just looks like a sweet jet. But I'll probably do a breakdown on it, and I'll definitely try to jump on here and fly it around for sure. Cobra's Collection says, new to your channel and appreciate the updates with these UAPs and just now getting emotional about your fellow soldier. Giving thanks shows me you're legit. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not afraid to show emotion. That's something that I've learned a long time ago is, you either talk it out, you feel it out, or you're going to act it out. And sometimes when you act it out, you're not going to act it out in the way that you choose. So showing emotion is actually a really, really, a really strong quality in someone. And it's something I've had to work on. So I've not always been good at that, but thank you for recognizing that. I really appreciate it. Okay. Fly Mode says, hi, Portugal here. Welcome, Portugal. I flew with a Portuguese F-16 pilot when I was learning how to fly the F-16. His name was Crunch. I think he'll probably be your chief of staff one day just because he's an awesome dude. Be on the lookout for someone with the call sign Crunch who becomes your chief of staff. Do you think this could be a fake invasion? Something I always think of when it comes to China is the fact that deception is key, and deception warfare is key anyways, right? Deception warfare allows you to have an asymmetric advantage. So whenever I think, when I think, or when I'm designing when I was designing battle plans and things like that, was, what are the enemy's tactics? What are they going to do? What are they going to use? So yeah, it is strange that, seeing that massive balloon fly across the United States all the way across, China's got their own war rooms where they're sitting around thinking like, hey, what do you think the chances are this thing goes all the way across? Someone's going to be like, well, it's probably actually 80% chance they let it fly all the way across because of they're going to say they don't want to endanger lives on the ground, doesn't pose any risk. So we might have a clear flight path all the way across the United States for this. So they're going to think that they're going to have come up with that. So they're going to say, okay, well, what can we do with that? What can we do? Well, we want to create dissent. We want to create the appearance that politicians shouldn't be trusted, which don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying China loves it when we fight with each other. So a fake invasion could definitely be a way for them to disrupt us. So looking at the things that China has done in the past, I'm not going to mention specifics right now because I don't want this live to be taken down. But when it comes to deception, a fake invasion could certainly be something that was talked about and thought about. But more than that, it's just distraction and it's disruption. And China believes that the more the U.S. is distracted and disrupted, the weaker we become, which is true. The more we fight with each other, the less we're able to manage affairs outside of the U.S. So fake invasion, I wouldn't rule it out. But again, I think it's at the level where it's just so controllable and containable that I don't think of it as an invasion right now. Not even close, but people have said like, hey, we're using AIM-9s, we're flying these flight hours, and China's even saying that as well. China's like, oh, you're using F-22s and you're using AIM-9s, but these F-22s, these F-16s would be flying anyway. So to me, it's great that there's the opportunity for them to get up there, get some practice in, shoot down these things, which is great. Get to use the weapons and things like that. So I think that's good. Mr. String, saw the Jordan Peterson book on your shelf. I love this book. Keep up the great work, and I'll subscribe to your personal channel as well. Mr. String, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson, Jocko Willink. Actually, I've got Obama's book up there as well, because again, I like taking the information from all different sides. Actually, deployed to Afghanistan under President Obama, and I don't like getting into politics. I'm not a political person, but it is interesting that people will say, that he didn't support the military and things like that. But actually, when we were over there, we had I want to say at one point 40 Strike Eagles because we were doing a plus up. And I've never felt more supported. The resources we had were massive. So that was under Obama. But yeah, I try to keep books up there that help drive me forward, help give me different perspectives and different information. So hopefully we're all doing that. Again, I just think that taking the information from all sides makes us stronger. Luke Cole says, any thoughts on Tate's arrest? Andrew Tate. Nice question, man. I've got a video on that on my personal channel. So if you go to Ryan Bodenheimer, you can check out that. Cool. Mariana, thanks for throwing up my personal channel name. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to do a video there once a week and I'll probably do a once a week Ukraine war update just because I think it's important to think about it. Today's was interesting, but I'll do other subjects as well, just on current events and things like that. So here we go. What else we got here? Eurofighter versus F-16. Who wins? Oh, man. I got to choose the F-16. I got to say F-16. Hey, Ryan, how'd you get so jacked? Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for noticing. I'm someone who appreciates the fact that being physically fit makes us better at everything else. So being physically fit to me is just the lifestyle. So I wake up every day and I think about, okay, what am I going to do today? Oh, I can't leave the house today. Well, I'm going to do 200 push-ups today, or, I'm going to do 500 air squats today. So that's how my brain works. But probably came from just the military and having the ability to pull G's, having the ability to be strong under pressure when, you're flying a 15-hour sortie. I think the longest, I think maybe 15 hours, the longest I sat in a jet cockpit for. And I tell you what, if your body's not strong, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. All right, here we go. So for all of us just tuning in, can you tell us what you think the last 3 objects were? Love the channel, man. New subscriber. Cool. Thanks, Milspec Machine. Appreciate that. Yeah, I will. So for everybody tuning in, the last 3 objects, my personal opinion, I'm going to say that they're some sort of low observable drone. So they might be using some type of hybrid technology between a balloon skin and actual shapes of drones and different objects that might be able to propel themselves through that material, therefore being extremely low observable from a heat signature perspective and an engine perspective. So there might be some type of new propulsion technology. I mean, it could be magnetic propulsion, could be some sort of some sort of solar propulsion that creates minimal exhaust. Because if these things are putting out exhaust, they're going to be way easier to detect. So I think that's why, you know, General van Hurk, what he said was the propulsion system could be something that we don't know about, or it could be some sort of balloon type gaseous propulsion that keeps them airborne. Personally, I think it's a new type of propulsion that doesn't produce heat. That's what I would say. That's just from my mind. But if you keep in mind the AIM-9, so if your next question would be, well, then how can an AIM-9X shoot these down? If it's a heat-seeking missile, excuse me, got to think about it. This is my stalling. So the AIM-9X actually sees light. It sees differences in light and the IR spectrum. So it's able to shoot these things down. A radar guided missile being able to grab onto these things and hold on to it might not be able to. I don't know. I don't know the specifics on that. But the skin on these is probably, it seems to be, and I don't know why I get this feeling, but maybe similar type of almost like a transparent type material that allows it to be low observable and not detected easily. And the shape, the hexagonal shape, I'm sure that has something to do with the way that radar beams would bounce off of it to potentially keep it from being observed. And, you know, no one's, you know, we're not claiming that these are from China yet, but it's very suspicious when, you know, China starts accusing the United States of balloons as well. It's like, come on, guys, we all know what you're doing. Cool. Well, let's see. I'll go for another like 2 or so minutes. Josh H, you want me to talk about something that we don't know about? Okay, and Mariana, I'm not getting without telling the story about the general's daughter. All right, so Josh H, something we don't know about. I guess that could be the general's daughter story as well. But let's see. Hello from Canada. Gene, welcome. Thank you. Thank your big brother America for always having our back and protecting us. For sure. Don't ever think we don't appreciate America's strength. Gene, thanks. You know, it's cool having the partnership of the US and Canada. I couldn't imagine having a, you know, like a nation that we didn't get along with on our border. So it's super cool as well. Man, you guys keep hitting me up about the general's daughter story. Something you don't know about. I think, you know, I've told you a lot about the different radars and things like that. So that would probably cover the things that you don't know about, is the fact that now the radars are the data is being interpreted differently. So that's your little key there. And if you go and watch the video that I posted yesterday, you can see actually an exact kind of like recreation of incorporating radar with a picture for fun. So, all right, the General Hurk story, General van Hurk. So I was at an air show. I was a single guy and I was at an air show. Alexander says, is your mustache a sign you're going into the Navy? Nice. It's a max stash, man. So we were at an air show and, you know, I was a single guy and I had General van Hurk had seen me fly the F-15E, and we had flown together on one mission, or we had talked about a mission that we had flown, and I did an extremely low takeoff. I was just like 10 feet off the deck, just like raging, you know, just pulled up, got the F-15E gear up, and I'm just 15 feet off the deck and just do a pull up that just would have brought tears to anyone's eyes. And for some reason, General van Hurk heard about that. And so on the Thunderbirds, he's like, I remember that takeoff that you did in the F-15E. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, well, thanks, sir. I appreciate the compliment. It wasn't a compliment. It was basically him being like, are you a troublemaker? And so then we were at an air show a couple weeks later, and the general of the base had a cute daughter. And, you know, I was in my 20s. She was in her 20s. We were both, you know, attracted to each other, obviously. And I was out doing a recruiting booth. She was there, and the general was there, whose daughter it was. And then General van Hurk walked up, and the generals start talking to each other. And when generals talk to each other, you got to be careful. They're the smartest people in the room, obviously, right? At least that's what they're going to tell each other. You're the better general. No, you're the better general. No, you're cooler. No, you're cooler. Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. It's like, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. I love you, general. I love you back, general. Gosh, general, you're so cool. No, you're the coolest general. So they're over there having little conversations. And then General van Hurk leaves, and the original general, who's the general of the base, is there. And he's like, so, I know you're talking to my daughter over here, which at first I was really excited about. But then General van Hurk told me you're a troublemaker. So then he was like, I'm not too sure if I want you hanging out with my daughter. So General van Hurk definitely blocked me from hanging out with that general's daughter. So to General van Hurk, I say, sir, that takeoff I did, you should have just complimented me. But cool guy, though. I have no bad things to say about General van Hurk. Maybe I'll do a full video on that. Oh, man, I can't believe you guys pulled that story out of me. Gosh, I should have known. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you. We've got 1,100 people here. Super rad. Couldn't, all the super thinks and stuff. Sorry, I'm catching up. Marco, ChatGPT being used in the UFOs. Man, a lot of questions here. AI could definitely be being used for sure. The Blue Angels versus Thunderbirds, I got a video on that for you to check out. But yeah, AI, I think, is the future. They could program these things to just kind of operate and maneuver on their own. I have had near-death experiences in a jet. That's from Vise. I'll probably save those for a video. But a lot of them, luckily, it worked out. But a lot of times the margins for error are super small. The safety margins are super small. And it just happened to work out. So that's good. Someone said, you're not in your 20s anymore, but you look like you're in your 20s. All right, thanks. Maybe it's the mustache. We had an F-22 do a belly slide down the runway after raising his gear too early. Yeah, I remember hearing about that one. Yeah, I know. And I'm not saying to be reckless. I may have been reckless at times in my life, and I'm not going to deny that. But I will say that being smart and prudent with just a nice little edginess to you is probably better. And I maybe have been a little too edgy at times. But now I get all my edginess out on YouTube talking trash. So thanks everybody for being here. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate it. Say hello on Instagram. It's just Max Afterburner /official. Would love to chat with you over there. What else? Check out some of the videos I got coming out tomorrow. I'm going to do a video on the scramble of the F-15s, trying to find that Montana track and seeing it make its way over to Michigan. Or if something else pops up, then I'll change that up. Hit 80,000 subscribers, which I was going to do a video on that, find 80,000 feet up here, but obviously there's more important things to do now to get you guys more information. So maybe I'll do another live tomorrow as well. But most of all, you guys are awesome. Couldn't be more grateful to be able to share my passion with you all and to make a living doing it. Allows me to focus on it. So I just want to say thanks. It's really cool. You guys rock. Thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting to all you, like however many showed up, like 1,300 people. Really grateful for you. Most of all, hope you have a great day. And as always, catch you on the next video.